So, text number one. I'm reading the thing. Okay, reason number one, or bad thing number one about Gen Xers. Boom! We are bad parents. Yes, that's fine. I'll say it. And I am not above this criticism as well. Am I? I'm not a terrible parent, but we are a little too self-centered, and we are a little too selfish to be amazing parents. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't come at me and be like, my sister Jenny is a Gen Xer and she's a wonderful parent. Okay, yes, there's always exceptions to the rule. But for the most part, yes, we are bad parents. And why is that? Well, we're a selfish generation. I believe that every generation keeps getting more and more selfish. It's just going to happen. Every generation gets more and more selfish and more self-absorbed. It's not like the next generation is going to be like, we're just here to save the world and we don't care about ourselves. We are just here to serve everyone. No, we are bad parents. A case in point, my daughter, not me and my wife, my daughter has a swear jar with money in it that I think my mother-in-law gave her because she said a bad word or something like that. So we've moved to us having to pay the swear jar with our baby boomer parents to our kids now having swear jars with actual money in it. Now, I don't know if my daughter just put like $3 in there, like if you're a bartender and you have to, you put $3 in there to make it look like everyone's tipping you. But yeah, and not only that, here's another example as to why we're bad parents and why our kids actually control us. Every Saturday morning, my wife and I, when we wake up, we don't have anything to do. I don't have to take the kid to school. She doesn't have to get up early to go to work. So we have what's known in our bed on Saturday morning as Saturday morning funnies. That's where me and my wife just lay in bed and we just honestly try to make each other laugh. And we call it Saturday morning funnies. Well, the past few Saturday morning funnies, my wife and I have been in trouble by our daughter. We will be laughing and joking and in bed making jokes, and all of a sudden we'll hear from down the hall, "Please be quiet. Please be quiet. I'm trying to sleep." And instead of my wife and I getting up and saying, "Excuse me, who's the parents here?" What do? We gotta be quiet. She's waking up. Let's. Okay, yeah, we don't want to get in trouble, and we joke about it. How we're gonna get in trouble by mom. So, yes, there's no way around it. We are bad parents. We're not horrible parents, but we're just not that good. A lot of parents too, I see, Gen X parents are so consumed with being cool parents, man, like we're like the dope parents, like we're cool, and my kid is cool. And if they're not trying to look like cool parents on social media, they are trying to make their kids look cool on social media. And I'm just not big on using kids as props. So yeah, maybe we as Gen Xers should stop trying to be cool parents and just be better parents. So that's my riff on reason number one. Let's go to reason number two as to what is wrong with Gen Xers. Number two, we were brainwashed into thinking college makes us smart. Now, this is a big one. And it's true. I'm not knocking college necessarily. And certainly if you're a Gen Xer out there who has a college degree and has made a good, decent living for yourself, well, amen. God bless you. That is great. But don't you, and honestly, this should also go on a list of everything wrong with baby boomers, because this is something that Gen Xers and baby boomers share, that we and it is the baby boomers' fault. Yes, I do blame you, baby boomers, because you grew up pounding into our heads that we needed to go to college, and that if we somehow didn't go to college, then we would be failures and be homeless and be dying on the streets and just be a bunch of sandy butt beach bums. And the thing is like the problem is that I would say 70% of people that are my age that I know that have some sort of a family are in debt. We are in horrible college debt. and we all have to pay it. My wife and I pay $350 a month for my wife's schooling, and a part of it is because baby boomers grew up telling us you have to go to college. If you don't go to college, you're not going to have a good job, and you're not going to be able to raise a family, and you're going to be fucking homeless. So you better go to college. Now, we can't completely blame the baby boomers for this, because if you think about it, baby boomers, again, being the first, I guess, modern privileged generation, their parents, most baby boomers' parents, did not go to college. They grew up in wartime. They fought in the war. They went through the Depression. So it's understandable why your World War II parents would tell you got to go to college, because what parent wants their kid to go to war and suffer the same shit that they did? So they have this thing where college is I don't want you to go to war and fight and see all your buddies die. No, you go to college and just live a nice suburban life. So that was pounded into baby boomers' heads. But the thing is that the World War II generation probably didn't have the money to send their baby boomer kids to college. So it was almost like this dream, I feel, that they planted in baby boomers' heads, saying, if we had enough money, you guys would go to college and you'd live this great life. And you wouldn't have to, walk to school in the snow, 15 miles like we did, but we just don't have the money. So when baby boomers, when the 80s hit and the economy was great, the baby boomers got all in their head, like, oh my God, now we finally have money to send our kids to college. But the problem is, when you look at college these days, boy, are there a lot of useless degrees. And nothing is worse than graduating college with a useless degree and having $60,000 in debt to pay with a degree that you can't really do anything with. Answer me this. If you were the manager of McDonald's, who would you rather hire? Someone that comes in with a degree and you're like, wow, okay, John, it says here that you went to college for 4 years. Wow, that's great. And you want to work at McDonald's. Well, we're flattered. What would you like to do? Or what was your degree in here? I didn't see. Yes, my degree was in dance culture. Oh, okay. Well, no wonder you want to work here. Versus another employee that never went to college and is like, yeah, the reason why I'm here is because I've always grew up eating McDonald's and I love McDonald's and I understand like the values of your company. And I really feel like I could come in and embrace the values of McDonald's and maybe one day move up in the company and be a manager. I don't have experience. I didn't go to college, but I really feel like I could really contribute to this company. Who would you hire? College student who has a degree in modern dance culture, or said girl who is just happy to be there and understands McDonald's values? So, yeah, we were brainwashed into thinking college makes us smart when really it just makes us in debt. Okay, so, number 3 is a doozy. Number 3 reason of things that are wrong with Gen Xers. Oh my gosh. We post, tweet, and text in Ebonics all the fucking time. WTF, bros. I know why this is. Now, if you were a teenager, not if you grew up in the 90s, but if you were a teenager in the 90s, meaning in the early to mid 90s, you were either in junior high or high school or young college age. Think about what the culture was then. It was all like hip hop and funny shows like Martin and the Wayans brothers, and everything was like hip hop, yo yo yo, and a hot cup of cocoa, right? Like that was our era, the early to mid 90s and there was some great hip hop then. I mean, think about it. Gosh, man, 1994. I believe, and 1992 are the 2 greatest years in all of hip hop. And it really influenced all of us Gen Xers, right? We all love our 90s hip hop. If you ever want to seduce a Gen Xer, just put on some 90s hip hop and you will be able to control them. Because we're all suckers for it. But once again, we refuse to grow up, and whenever any Gen Xer is on Instagram and they're posting or tweeting or texting, why the fuck is it always in Ebonics? Meanwhile, said Gen Xer, if you were to talk to them in real life, would be like, yeah, hi, how you doing? My name's Jerry. Oh yeah, yeah. I work over at the Nike store. Yeah, I work with inventory and all that. But then you see his tweet when he goes to lunch. Yo, dog, just had like this burger from Five Guys. Shit was bomb, yo. And you're like, wait, what? Is this Jerry Smith, the guy I work with? Oh yeah, yeah. Did you see I see you liked my tweet there. That was a really yummy burger. That was a really yummy burger. Yeah, it was scrumptious. Oh, it was scrumptious and yummy, Jerry. Okay, great. Well, why did you put this burger be da bomb? I mean, this has to stop, guys. I get it. Yes, that's the era we grew up in the hip-hop era where everything was cool and urban and hip-hop. But we're like 40 and 45 years old now, guys. Do we still need to keep talking like kid and play backup dancers? Like, really, guys? Seriously? Can we stop with the Ebonics posting? Think about it. What's the generation older than us? Our parents, the baby boomers, right? Now imagine if in the mid 90s, when we were in the mid 90s, if our baby boomer parents were like, hey, Ray, you know that hip hop club that you're going to tonight? Well, heck, me and your mother are going too. And we just can't wait to hear Naughty by Nature sing OPP. You know, we really think that song is just like really dope and fat. By the way, since we're going to be there tonight, do you think you can help us do can you teach us that dance, the Running Man? And then after that, can you teach us the Cabbage Patch? You know, because we really want to get in good, and we want Naughty by Nature to notice us, and we want to take a picture with them. Like, you see how dorky that sounds? Like, you know, or if our parents still talked like, talked like a bunch of, like how they did when they were teenagers, right? So imagine if when we'd hear our parents talk, they still talk like a bunch of teenagers. So if our parents, baby boomers, grew up in the 60s era, so imagine if when you hear our parents talking, wow, can't wait to go out to the malt shop tonight. It's going to be groovy. Me and your mom are having a date night, and it is going to be a groovy time. It's just going to be happening. So, guys, Gen Xers, please, can we drop the Ebonics? Are we going to be like 70 years old in rest homes going like, oh man, that oatmeal I had was bomb. It was the shiznit. No tweeting, posting, or texting in Ebonics, please, guys. We're getting up there in age, guys, and we don't need to be talking like Kid and Play anymore. Kid and Play shouldn't even be talking like Kid and Play anymore. Gosh. Okay, that one was an angry one. Okay, number 4 reason of everything wrong with Gen Xers. Number 4. Ooh, this is a good one. We are hypnotized by nostalgia. Whoa, what in the hell is up with that? Now, I fall victim to this too as well. When that stupid Super Nintendo Classic and the Nintendo Classic came out, what was I doing, guys? Oh yeah, I was waking up at 4 a.m. to drive to my local Target, only to find that there were already 75 people that had got there at 2:30 in the morning to get the Nintendo Classic. And I would get mad, I would punch my steering wheel, and I would drive to the next closest Target, probably about 20 minutes away, only to find that, oh, now there's 90 people there camped out to get the 15 available Nintendo Classics. Now, it's not like we can't play these games on ROMs or RAMs, or we play them on ROMs or whatever. It's not like we could just get a Wii and play it at the virtual console. No, we have to go get the mini. Where is my mini Nintendo Classic? No, we have to stand in line and camp out like a bunch of urban campers for 4 hours, because it's like when we were kids, but smaller. It's so cute. I gotta have it. You know, guys, we are such suckers for nostalgia. Do you ever watch that show that Slobby Robbie guy does on Netflix, where it's basically the guy's like a Gen Xer, and he sells all the shit that we used to like when we were teenagers, and he sells it for like $300. So that Naughty by Nature concert shirt that you bought for $12 in 1993 at the San Diego Sports Arena now sells for $300 at a urban hip hop shop in Arizona somewhere. That only happens because us morons, us Gen Xers, are willing to pay for it. We look at a Naughty by Nature shirt that was $12 in 1993 at the swap meet, and we're like, I gotta have it. I just gotta have it. This reminds me of when I was like 15 and I went to that Naughty by Nature concert and I made out with that girl that had a lip ring. Oh my God, I got it. How much is it? You'll give it to me for 30? No, fuck it. I'll pay you $200 for that bitch. And when Armageddon starts and they're rounding up everyone, think about it. What are the three generations living on this earth? You have the baby boomers who are all old. You have millennials and you have Gen Xers. And you got a little bit of the World War II generation left, but they are old as shit now. So if Armageddon were to start, a little diss here to millennials. I know I apologized earlier, but this is just a little punch. I think you could get the millennials if you are trying to take over, like if Russia was trying to take over the United States. I think they'd come after the millennials first, because I think to get millennials, all you have to do is turn off their phones and the internet. Okay, that's it. That's the only diss I'm doing today to millennials. I know I was harsh on you last week, so that's the only diss I'm throwing at you guys. And I think most millennials would agree. Most millennials do flip out when they can't find their phone or don't have internet, and so do I. As a Gen Xer, I do. So, I think a lot of millennials would agree that if you need to take over the millennial generation, turn off their internet, take their phones, and they're pretty easy pickings at that point. Now, who's left after you get the millennials? Well, then you have the baby boomers. Easy. They're all geriatric now. They're all senior citizens. Most of them are retired. It's pretty easy to round up a bunch of senior citizens. So that means that would leave us. That leaves us Gen Xers, the last bastion in America, to fight for our land against those evil Russians who have now killed the millennial generation, and they've taken over the baby boomer generation. So that means it would be us Gen Xers who would be left to fight these evil Russians who are looking to take over the United States. And I hate to say it, guys, but we would not be successful. Why? Because the Russians would probably, I guess they've probably watched this stream and have realized all we need to do is hypnotize them by nostalgia. So, us Gen Xers, we'd be like, all right, man, they killed my little fucking brother. They killed my parents, but they're never going to take us, bro. Let's band together, and we're going to fight these fucking Russians, man, from taking over the United States of America, man. This land is our land. Then in comes some Russian. Would you like to see a mini version of Street Fighter 2 Arcade 1-Up? Yeah, just like when you were a kid. But this time we made it half as small. No way? Are you serious, bro? Yes, and you remember Dunkaroos, the snack? Well, we have crates of them in that room over there. No way. Are you trying to tell me, bro, that you have little mini versions of Street Fighter 2 and a bunch of Dunkaroos? A snack that's been discontinued since the 90s? That is right. Come this way, sir. We also have, I don't know what else was popular in the 90s that's not popular. We have Saved by the Bell on rerun. Constant loop. You wake up, you see Slater. You wake up, you see Zach Morris. Saved by the Bell on rerun all day when you're sick of eating Dunkaroos and playing Arcade 1-Up Street Fighter. Whoa, bro! I that's it. I'm done. All right, yeah, fine. You can have us. Yeah, we're going in there, bro. Those Russians, they got mini Street Fighter 2 games. They got Dunkaroos, which have been discontinued since 1994. I used to love them. And Saved by the Bell is on rerun all day there. And that's how you take over the world. Unfortunately, I've just sold out our country, and Russia now is probably going to take us over because they're probably watching this stream and are like, "This fucking supercharger boy is genius. Let us go get those 90s video games and let's take them out." So, sorry if the Russians come and take over our land, but we, as Gen Xers, are just a little too hypnotized by nostalgia. All right, now, this is the last one, number 5. The number 5 thing wrong with Gen Xers is, yes, we are all obsessed with being artists. What in the fuck is up with that? I don't get it. Like, each and every one of us, all of us Gen Xers have some sort of weird artistic aspiration. Like, we think that we're like photographers. Like, yeah, you know, I work at Applebee's, but I'm also a photographer. Or yeah, you know, I work at Orange Theory Fitness as a head trainer, but you know what I also do is I write short stories. Yeah. Or like, yeah, you know, I work in marketing and it's pretty cool, but you know what I really do is I paint pictures. 99.100% of all Gen Xers think that there's some artist on the side. And I know where it comes from. I blame underground hip hop for this. I do. I blame underground hip hop, and I blame the other side of underground, because if you weren't an underground hip hopper, you were probably into like indie grunge rock, right? So it's those two things. It's both sides of the spectrum. Let me explain. If you're not a Gen Xer, if you were a kid, or if you were a teenager in the mid to early 90s, and you were into hip hop like I was, or still am, I'm a huge hip hop fan. You may have been an underground hip hop fan. Now, what's an underground hip hop fan? Well, you know, dude, like all us like dope underground hip hop dudes, man. Like, we didn't like that mainstream shit, yo. You know, like fucking Biggie and fucking Puffy and all that shit. And don't act like it. If there's any Gen Xers out there watching, that grew up in that area, that liked underground hip hop, don't fucking lie and act like you were not talking shit about Notorious B.I.G. back then, because you were. If you were into underground hip hop back then, what did you say? You said Biggie sucked, didn't you? And why did you say Biggie sucked? Because he was mainstream. He's just talking about his money and his gats and his gangsterism. But we, as underground hip hoppers, we listen to lyrics, you know, like we just love lyrics. That's what we're here for. But now, you know, everyone is like, oh no, I loved, yeah, that was my era. Like Biggie was my era. Yeah, bullshit. You were walking around in Adidas pants and a backpack saying how much Biggie sucked because it was just all about the lyrics. So that was a whole movement in the 90s, and it was all about, we don't really like, you know, like, we don't really like mainstream hip hop. Nah, we're into like the artsy, underground hip hop that's just so much cooler. Now on the other side of that, if you weren't a hip hopper, if you weren't a dope, lyrical, super lyrical, extra spiritual, centrifugal hip hopper, you were probably into like Nirvana and like, more like indie grunge type of rap. And that was like the same thing. That was like, you know, I don't listen to like Blink-182. Fuck those guys. You know, I listen to like Kurt Cobain and like, you know, underground indie. Like I listen to like Sonic Youth, man. Like that's just Sonic Youth, man. They're just like so deep. And those guys are real artists, man. Not no fucking stupid Blink-182. Those guys are darks, man. They're not artsy. And because of that, all of us Gen Xers still hold on to that. That we still think that we are all these secret artists. Look, guys, look, fellow generation, some of us have to clean toilets, some of us have to drive trucks, some of us have to wipe old people's asses, some of us have to clean the spooge from X-rated movie theaters, and not all of us can be artists, okay? So stop pretending like you're some secret artist. The era of underground hip-hop is done. The era of grunge is done. Just be old. Let's all grow old together. Let's all be a bunch of hip-hop yo-yo-yo geriatrics, and let's all start to act our age. Oh, even the camera thinks